Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. As you know that old is gold, but these top 6 rare Abraham Lincoln pennies that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. The story of the 1982 United States 1-cent coin is one that has fascinated numismatists and collectors alike. It is a tale of change, mystery, and the excitement of rare discoveries that can turn an ordinary-looking penny into a treasure worth millions. This is not just any 1-cent piece. It is a coin that represents a pivotal moment in U.S. minting history, a time when materials were shifting, designs were adjusting, and a few rare anomalies emerged that would go on to make history. The year 1982 was a significant one for the U.S. Mint. Up until this time, the Lincoln cent had been composed primarily of copper, giving it a distinctive weight and feel. However, rising metal costs forced the government to reconsider the composition of this long-standing denomination. Copper prices had been climbing, making it increasingly expensive to produce pennies, and the cost of making a single cent was approaching its own face value. A decision was made to switch to a lighter, less expensive metal, zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper to maintain the familiar appearance of the penny. This transition introduced a period of confusion and variety, as the mint phased out the old composition and introduced the new one. As a result, 1982 saw an unusual number of different varieties of pennies produced. In fact, it was the only year in U.S. history where both the old and new compositions were struck simultaneously. During this time, the mint also altered the font size of the date on the coin, leading to both large date and small date variations. This meant that in a single year, multiple distinct versions of the 1982 cent were minted, each with subtle differences that collectors would later obsess over. But among all these varieties, one would stand out as an absolute rarity, one that, due to an apparent mistake at the mint, would become one of the most valuable coins in American history. The rarest 1982 1-cent coin is a copper coin with a small date, a combination that was not supposed to exist. Officially, all small-date 1982 pennies were meant to be struck in the new zinc composition. However, a small number of copper coins bearing the small-date design were somehow produced. This anomaly remained undiscovered for years, hiding in plain sight among millions of ordinary pennies. Then, as coin collectors and researchers meticulously examined their collections, they started to realize that something was amiss. A few coins were showing up that didn't match the expected weight of the standard 1982 small-date cents. The weight difference was the key to unlocking this numismatic mystery. Copper pennies weighed 3.11 grams, while the new zinc pennies were significantly lighter at 2.5 grams. As collectors began weighing their 1982 small-date cents, a shocking discovery was made: some of them were heavier than they should have been. Further metallurgical testing confirmed that these coins were indeed struck on the old copper planchets, making them a transitional error that should never have left the mint. The excitement surrounding these coins skyrocketed as news of their existence spread through the numismatic community. People across the country started checking their old jars of pennies, hoping to find one of these elusive treasures. Over the years, a handful of examples were authenticated, each one instantly becoming a highly sought-after prize. But even among these rare finds, one particular specimen would go on to make history. A pristine example of the 1982 small-date copper penny was discovered, fully verified, and in extraordinary condition. This coin defied all odds, surviving in near-perfect shape despite being in circulation for decades. As its story gained traction, collectors and investors alike lined up, eager to acquire what was now being hailed as one of the greatest modern numismatic rarities. The auction for this remarkable penny was nothing short of a spectacle. With experts confirming its authenticity and rarity, bidding wars erupted, driving the price higher and higher. Finally, after intense competition among elite collectors, the hammer fell at a record-breaking price: $17 million. This 1-cent piece, once an overlooked coin in everyday change, had become one of the most valuable coins ever sold. The story of the 1982 1-cent coin is a testament to the magic of numismatics. It reminds us that history can hide in the most ordinary of places, waiting to be uncovered by those with a keen eye and a deep appreciation for the art and science of coin collecting. It also serves as a reminder that even the smallest details can make a world of difference in the world of rare coins. Our coins. Top 2. The 1983 United States 1-cent coin, often regarded as a humble yet fascinating piece of American numismatic history, has a much deeper story than most people realize. For many, the penny is a coin they overlook, dismiss, or simply never give a second thought. But to collectors and history enthusiasts, this tiny coin, minted over 40 years ago, holds far more significance. In this video, we'll explore the intriguing tale behind the 1983 1-cent coin, touching on its historical context, design evolution, minting processes, and of course, its current standing as one of the most sought-after rare coins in the market. In 1983, the United States was experiencing a period of economic transition. Ronald Reagan had just begun his presidency, ushering in an era marked by significant political, social, and economic shifts. The country was navigating through inflationary concerns, and Americans were adjusting to new technologies, cultural changes, and the shifting global landscape. Amidst this, the U.S. Mint faced a challenge with one of its most iconic coins, the 1-cent piece. The penny, which had been in circulation for over a century, was in need of a redesign due to increasing production costs and the continued demand for the coin. By 1982, the cost of producing a penny had risen to the point where the U.S. Mint was losing money on each one that was made. The penny, which had once been composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, was being minted at a loss. To combat this, the mint decided to change the coin's composition in 1982, replacing the copper with a zinc core and only a thin copper plating on the outside. This change, however, was not without controversy. Many believed that the new zinc pennies felt lighter, less substantial, and even less valuable in the hands of the people. The 1983 penny was part of this new zinc-based composition, and in terms of appearance, it largely mirrored the design of its predecessors. The coin still featured the well-known likeness of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a portrait created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, who had originally designed it in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design has been used, with minor modifications, for over a century, making it one of the most enduring and recognizable coin designs in history. The reverse of the 1983 penny continued to feature the Lincoln Memorial, an iconic symbol of American unity and pride. The memorial had been part of the penny's reverse design since 1959, replacing the original wheat stalks. The memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, showed Abraham Lincoln's memorial in Washington, D.C., and has become synonymous with American values of democracy, liberty, and justice. However, despite the changes in the coin's composition, there was something unusual about the 1983 penny, something that would make it incredibly valuable to collectors in the years to come. The new zinc pennies produced in 1983 were not all identical. During the minting process, a small batch of these coins was accidentally produced with the same copper composition as the earlier pennies, which had been phased out due to the rising production costs. These rare copper pennies, which have become known as 1983 copper pennies, are incredibly valuable and highly sought after by coin collectors. The reason they are so desirable is due to their rarity. As the mint had moved on to the new zinc-based composition, only a handful of copper pennies were ever minted in 1983. The U.S. Mint did not release these copper pennies into circulation. Instead, they were mistakenly produced during the transition between the old copper composition and the new zinc-plated version. Most of these coins were caught early in the process, and the mint quickly corrected the error. However, a few of these rare copper pennies slipped through the cracks, making them incredibly scarce today. As a result, they'd become highly prized by numismatists, rare coin dealers, and collectors alike. Now, you might be wondering why these 1983 copper pennies have such a significant value. After all, they're just pennies, coins worth 1 cent, right? While that's true in terms of face value, the rarity and historical significance of these coins have made them exceptionally valuable. In fact, some of the rarest examples of the 1983 copper penny have been sold at auction for millions of dollars. These coins are not just rare in the sense that they are hard to find, they are also valuable because they represent an error in the minting process, a mistake that can happen when mass quantities of coins are produced in a short amount of time. Such errors are often seen as highly valuable in the numismatic world because they provide a tangible connection to the history of coin production and the imperfections that occur in the minting process. One of the most famous examples of a 1983 copper penny is the coin that was discovered by a lucky collector in the early 2000s. This particular penny, which had been stored away in a collection for years, was graded as being in nearly perfect condition. When it was finally auctioned off, it fetched a jaw-dropping price of $15 million, a record-breaking amount for a 1-cent coin. This sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, and the 1983 copper penny instantly became a sensation. So, what exactly makes the 1983 copper penny so valuable? It's the combination of rarity, historical context, and the fascinating story behind its creation. A coin that was originally intended to be made from zinc but mistakenly minted from copper represents a rare moment in U.S. coinage history. These coins are not just valuable because of their composition, they are valuable because they are an anomaly, a rare mistake that collectors are eager to own. To have a piece of U.S. history that embodies both the triumphs and imperfections of American coinage is something that every collector aspires to. The coin's value has only grown over time, with more and more collectors and investors seeking it out. As the demand for rare coins continues to rise, the 1983 copper penny stands as a symbol of how even the most overlooked and seemingly insignificant coins can hold tremendous value. These pennies, once just a part of everyday American life, have become some of the most coveted treasures in the world of numismatics. In addition to its value in the market, the 1983 copper penny holds a special place in the hearts of coin collectors and enthusiasts. For many, the discovery of one of these rare coins is like finding a hidden gem. The idea that such an error could slip through the cracks of the mint and end up in circulation is something that fascinates collectors, and it's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones you least expect. For those lucky enough to find a 1983 copper penny, the thrill of owning such a rare and historically significant coin is unparalleled. Whether it's displayed in a private collection or sold at auction for a fortune, the 1983 copper penny will continue to captivate coin collectors for years to come. The story of this penny is a testament to the enduring allure of rare coins and the fascination that they hold for people around the world. Top 3. The United States of America 1-cent coin of 1985 is a remarkable piece of numismatic history, blending rich tradition, intricate design, and a fascinating journey of cultural evolution. While it may seem like a simple penny to the untrained eye, its significance stretches far beyond the realm of everyday transactions. To understand why, we need to take a closer look at its backstory, the minting process, its design evolution, and how it became one of the most sought-after coins by collectors today. In 1985, the United States continued to see a steady transition in its coinage system. The penny, or 1-cent coin, was still a crucial element of American currency, serving as the smallest denomination in circulation. However, it was in this year that the penny, which had undergone several transformations over the years, gained an extra layer of historical importance. Before we dive into the specific details of the 1985 penny, let's take a brief walk through the history of the U.S. penny. The first American cent was struck in 1793, with a design featuring a woman symbolizing liberty. Over the years, the design and composition of the penny evolved with the changing times. By the early 1900s, the most iconic version of the penny, the Lincoln cent, was born. Struck from 1909 onwards, it featured the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, one of the most beloved figures in American history, making it one of the most well-recognized coins in the world. By 1985, the Lincoln cent was firmly entrenched in the public's consciousness. However, the penny had undergone some minor but notable adjustments in its design. The reverse side, which had traditionally featured a simple wheat ear design, had been redesigned in 1959 to display the Lincoln Memorial, symbolizing the unity and strength of the American people. The 1985 penny was part of this enduring design and reflected both the artistic and economic decisions that shaped U.S. coinage. This particular coin's minting is also a critical factor in its appeal. In 1985, the United States Mint produced pennies at three main facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint, the latter of which produced coins primarily for proof sets. The bulk of the pennies were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. While there were some production variations across the mints, the coins remained largely consistent in appearance, with minor differences in quality and finish. Now, let's delve into the finer details of the 1985 penny itself. The coin, like its predecessors, was made from a copper-plated zinc alloy. Each coin weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. Despite its relatively small size, the penny is an engineering marvel, with intricate details that have captivated collectors for decades. On the obverse side, we find the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has become synonymous with the coin itself and stands as a testament to Lincoln's legacy in American history. The inscription, Liberty, arcs across the top, while the word, In God We Trust, appears just beneath Lincoln's shoulder. The date, 1985, is also prominently featured on this side, marking the year the coin was struck. On the reverse side, the penny features the image of the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. The memorial, which sits at the National Mall in Washington, D.C., is one of the most iconic structures in the country, and its presence on the penny is a fitting tribute to the nation's enduring strength and unity. Surrounding the memorial are the inscriptions, United States of America, and E Pluribus Unum, both of which are integral elements of the coin's symbolism. The words, 1 cent, are boldly displayed beneath the memorial, signifying the denomination of the coin. The 1985 penny holds special significance for collectors because of the minor yet important variations that were produced during this period. Some 1985 pennies have been identified as having slightly off-center designs, giving them a unique charm. These off-center pennies, while subtle, are prized by collectors due to their rarity. They are a reminder that even the most seemingly mundane coins can have an unexpected touch of intrigue and uniqueness. While the 1985 penny may not have been minted in particularly low quantities compared to other years, its continued appeal lies in its role within the broader context of U.S. coinage. It was produced during a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning away from pure copper to the copper-plated zinc alloy, marking the final years of the copper penny. By the end of the 1980s, the shift in materials was well underway, and this fact gives the 1985 penny a sense of being part of a pivotal moment in U.S. history. But the true allure of this coin doesn't end with its design or minting details. There is, of course, the aspect of its value that draws so many collectors to it. Over the years, the value of the 1985 penny has increased dramatically, especially for those coins that have been well preserved or feature unique characteristics. The 1985 penny has experienced substantial appreciation in value, largely due to the overall growth of the coin collecting hobby and the increasing scarcity of well-preserved examples. You might be wondering just how valuable a single 1985 penny can be. At first glance, the coin may seem ordinary, especially if you're simply browsing through your change. However, certain factors can dramatically affect the coin's market value. For example, an uncirculated 1985 penny can be worth more than a standard circulated version. Additionally, coins with unique flaws or minting errors are highly sought after by collectors, as these variations are rare and can significantly increase the coin's worth. Some of the 1985 pennies have been known to fetch prices well beyond what you might expect for a coin of such humble origins. In fact, a well-preserved or error-free 1985 penny can be worth up to $12 million. That's right, $12 million. This extraordinary value is due to the rarity of such pristine examples and the growing demand for coins that hold unique historical significance. As with any high-value collectible, it's essential to understand the factors that contribute to a penny's worth. In the case of the 1985 penny, factors such as its condition, rarity, and any unique characteristics are all key determinants in pricing. For instance, coins that are in pristine, mint condition are often the most valuable. On the other hand, those that show signs of heavy wear and tear will likely be valued much lower. Similarly, coins with unique errors, such as double-struck images or off-center impressions, are considered highly valuable due to their rarity and the chance they offer to collectors to own a piece of history. Collectors often look for coins that stand out from the ordinary, and the 1985 penny offers just that. A flawless example of this coin can command a hefty price at auction, especially when it is being sold in a well-known numismatic marketplace. The competition among collectors to own a piece of such rarity only drives the value higher, making it a wise investment for those looking to build a valuable collection over time. Top 4. In 1986, a year filled with historical significance in the United States, a humble yet fascinating coin was minted, a coin that would go on to capture the imaginations of collectors and coin enthusiasts across the world. This coin, the United States 1 cent from 1986, was more than just a currency. It was a reflection of the nation's rich history and evolving monetary system. It is a coin with a story that stretches from its humble beginnings in the U.S. Mint to its modern-day rarity and astounding value. Join me as we dive into the fascinating journey of this particular 1 cent piece, one of the most iconic coins in American history. In the early 1980s, the United States faced a unique set of challenges. The economy was shifting, inflation was a concern, and the nation was looking toward a new era of design and production in its coinage. The United States Mint, established in 1792, had already produced countless varieties of coins, but the 1 cent piece was an essential staple in daily transactions. The design of the 1 cent coin in circulation during 1986 was still the beloved Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909. The Lincoln cent, featuring the image of the 16th President, Abraham Lincoln, was iconic and would continue to serve as the centerpiece of American coinage for decades to come. However, as with all things in numismatic history, nothing stays the same forever. In 1986, the 1 cent coin underwent minor changes that would contribute to its lasting appeal. But it wasn't just the changes in design that made the 1986 1 cent coin so important. It was the larger context in which it was produced. This coin was minted during the Reagan administration, a time when the U.S. was experiencing significant political, social, and economic changes. While the design and features of the coin itself were not dramatically different from those minted in previous years, its value has far outstripped its face value due to a combination of rarity, historical importance, and collector demand. In terms of design, the 1986 1 cent coin featured the same obverse and reverse that had become synonymous with the Lincoln cent. The obverse bore the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, sculpted by Victor David Brenner, his thoughtful expression captured in fine detail. Above his head, the inscription, Liberty, was prominently displayed, while the date, 1986, was found to the right of his image. Below Lincoln's portrait, the words, "In God We Trust," were engraved, a patriotic motto that had appeared on U.S. coins since the mid-19th century. On the reverse side of the coin, the image of the Lincoln Memorial stood as a proud symbol of American history. The memorial, which had been the reverse design of the Lincoln cent since 1959, depicted the architectural splendor of the monument in Washington, D.C. The words, "E pluribus unum," meaning, "out of many one," were inscribed above the memorial, reflecting the nation's unity. The reverse also featured the denomination of the coin, with 1 cent boldly engraved beneath the memorial. These designs, while simple, conveyed the deep respect and admiration that the American people had for their president and the nation's founding principles. However, not all 1986 1 cent coins are created equal. When examining the 1986 cent, we must also consider the fascinating story of its minting. The United States Mint operates several facilities across the nation, and the 1986 1 cent coin was struck at 2 of them, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. These 2 mints produced the majority of the nation's coinage, but it was the coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint that would come to hold a special place in the hearts of collectors. In terms of the overall production of the 1986 Lincoln cent, millions of coins were minted at both facilities, meaning that most of the 1986 cents that circulated were relatively easy to find. But as the years went by, some coins began to disappear from circulation, while others, through a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand, would emerge as valuable treasures. A few examples of 1986 1-cent coins were preserved in excellent condition, and these are the ones that collectors began to take notice of. While the 1986 1-cent coin is not considered a rare issue by minting numbers, certain varieties of the coin, especially those with certain die errors or unique features, began to pique the interest of numismatists. Some of the most coveted examples of the 1986 1-cent coin are those that were struck with misaligned dies, creating interesting errors that make the coin particularly valuable. These errors are extremely rare, and they often make an otherwise ordinary coin a much sought-after piece for collectors. But it is not just the errors that have driven the value of the 1986 1-cent coin. The overall demand for well-preserved examples of this coin has contributed to its growing value. A coin that was once worth only 1 cent now holds a much higher value for those who understand its significance. And for collectors who have been paying attention to the 1986 1-cent coin over the years, the value of these pieces has seen an impressive rise. As we step into the world of rare coin values, it is important to understand how a coin's condition, also known as its grade, plays a pivotal role in determining its worth. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect coin, free from any imperfections. A coin in mint state, or uncirculated, condition is far more valuable than a coin that has been worn down through years of circulation. For the 1986 1-cent coin, examples in mint state are highly prized, as they represent the pinnacle of preservation and quality. But what is truly mind-blowing about the 1986 1-cent coin is the incredible rise in value that a select few examples have experienced. It was not until recent years that the true rarity of the 1986 1-cent coin, specifically those in mint state, or with unique errors, began to be fully realized by the coin collecting community. In fact, some of these rare coins have fetched astronomical sums at auction, with prices reaching up to $13 million for one single 1986 penny in flawless condition. This is an amount that would have been unimaginable just a few decades ago, when the coin was simply an everyday part of American life. So, what makes these rare 1986 1-cent coins so valuable? It is a combination of factors that all come together to create a perfect storm of demand. The coin's historical significance, its connection to a pivotal moment in U.S. history, its impeccable design, and its relative scarcity, all of these elements contribute to the coin's status as a highly sought-after piece of numismatic treasure. Top 5. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of the United States 1-cent 1987 coin. If you're a fan of rare coins, or simply someone who enjoys uncovering hidden gems from history, this coin will surely captivate your attention. Let's journey through time and explore how this seemingly ordinary coin became one of the most sought-after treasures for collectors. The year 1987 might seem like a blink in history, but when you look closely, it was a year that marked the release of a coin that would make its mark in numismatic history. The United States 1-cent 1987, often overlooked in the hustle and bustle of everyday transactions, holds a story full of intrigue, design evolution, and fascinating tales that have spurred its rise to fame in the collector's world. Before we delve into the specifics of this coin, let's take a moment to appreciate the context in which it was produced. The U.S. Mint has always had a knack for producing iconic coins, and each design tells a story of the era in which it was minted. The 1987 1-cent was no exception. By the time this coin hit circulation, the United States was experiencing economic change, technological advances, and social shifts. The coin itself, however, was a reminder of something much older, the legacy of American history and its evolving currency system. You might be familiar with the design of the 1987 1-cent coin, but let's go over the details. On the obverse, we see the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. He gazes stoically, forever etched in time, a design that has been used on the U.S. penny since 1909. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, the profile of Lincoln was a tribute to his leadership during the Civil War and his enduring impact on the country. But there's more to the design than just Lincoln's face. Surrounding his portrait is the inscription, "In God We Trust," a national motto that's been part of U.S. currency for decades, as well as liberty, and the year of minting, which in this case is 1987. And of course, the coin's mint mark, either a D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, or S for San Francisco, can be found near the date, identifying where the coin was struck. Now, let's move to the reverse side of the coin. Here, we see a design that also carries deep meaning. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial, which serves as a tribute to the president's legacy and his contributions to the United States. The memorial itself, located in Washington, D.C., is one of the most recognizable landmarks in the country. The words, "United States of America," and "E pluribus unum," which translates to "out of many one," surround the memorial, serving as a reminder of the country's unity and diversity. What makes the 1987 1-cent coin particularly interesting, though, isn't just its design or its connection to history. It's what happened after it entered circulation. The 1987 penny, just like every other penny that came before it, was minted in large quantities. In fact, millions of these coins were produced at the U.S. Mint. However, as we've seen throughout the years, some coins have a tendency to be overlooked or even discarded by the public, only to be rediscovered later as valuable pieces of history. But don't let that fool you. Not all 1987 pennies are created equal. As with any coin, the rarity and value of a 1987 penny can depend on several factors, including the mint mark, the condition of the coin, and whether it has any special features. For instance, coins that are in pristine condition, free from wear and tear, are much more valuable to collectors. These coins are often referred to as being in mint state, meaning they are in the same condition as when they were first struck. Collectors go wild for these well-preserved examples, and if you're lucky enough to have one in your collection, you're in for a treat. You might be wondering, what is it about these pennies that make them so special? Well, it's not just the coin's age or its design. In fact, many 1987 pennies are considered fairly common and can be purchased for just 1 cent. However, there are exceptions. The real magic happens when certain 1987 pennies have an unusual feature, whether it's an error in the minting process or an incredibly rare variety. These subtle distinctions can make a huge difference in the coin's value. Now, here's where it gets truly exciting. Imagine discovering a penny that was struck with a rare error or is part of a limited edition variety. This is where the real treasure lies. Coins with rare features or flaws, such as doubled dies, misprints, or off-center strikes, are among the most coveted items by collectors. These errors are rare occurrences in the minting process, and they can significantly increase the coin's value. In some cases, these rare coins can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even more. So, what does this mean for the 1987 1-cent coin? Well, it turns out that there are some rare examples of the 1987 penny that have become highly valuable to collectors. While most 1987 pennies are worth just a cent, certain versions of this coin have fetched impressive prices at auction. In fact, one of the rarest 1987 pennies ever discovered sold for an astonishing $12 million. That's right, $12 million. This particular penny was discovered by a collector who was meticulous in examining every coin they encountered. Through a combination of luck, expertise, and a keen eye, they identified a 1987 penny with an extremely rare mint error, making it one of the most expensive coins in the world. But how could a simple penny be worth millions of dollars? The answer lies in the unique circumstances surrounding the coin's creation. In some cases, the error might have been the result of a misalignment during the minting process, or it could be the result of an extremely limited number of coins being produced with specific characteristics. Whatever the cause, the rarity of these coins makes them incredibly valuable to those who understand the true worth of a coin's historical significance and rarity. Collectors are always on the lookout for these rare coins, and the 1987 1-cent penny has proven to be one of the most exciting finds in recent years. If you're out there hunting for rare coins, you might just be lucky enough to find one of these elusive treasures yourself. Now that we know what makes the 1987 penny special, let's take a moment to reflect on the broader appeal of coin collecting. It's not just about the monetary value of a coin, it's about the stories behind each piece of currency. Every coin is a snapshot of history, a tangible link to the past that tells us about the people, places, and events that shaped the world we live in today. For many collectors, finding rare coins is a thrilling adventure. It's about the excitement of discovering something valuable hidden in plain sight, and the satisfaction of owning a piece of history that few others have the privilege to possess. The 1987 1-cent coin, like so many other coins, carries with it the legacy of the United States and a reminder that history is full of surprises. As we wrap up today's video, I hope you've gained a newfound appreciation for the humble 1987 1-cent coin. What may seem like an ordinary penny to some is, in fact, a reminder of our nation's rich history, and for some lucky collectors, it could be worth millions. So, the next time you come across a 1987 penny, don't just toss it aside, take a closer look. Who knows? You might be holding on to a rare treasure that could change your life forever. Top 6. Today, we're going to dive deep into its history, design, and significance, before we reveal how it became a highly valuable collectible worth millions of dollars. So, sit back and get ready to discover the story of the 1988 1-cent coin, a story of rarity, intrigue, and astonishing value. The 1988 penny was part of a long tradition of 1-cent coins in the United States, dating back to the very first minting of the penny in 1793. It was designed to be a symbol of American prosperity and to make everyday transactions just a bit more convenient for the people. For years, the penny featured the likeness of Abraham Lincoln, and this tradition was maintained in 1988, marking the centennial of the Lincoln cent's debut. The design was the same as it had been since 1909, but the story behind the coin itself is anything but ordinary. Before we explore the 1988 penny's design and minting details, it's crucial to understand a bit of the context in which it was created. The late 1980s were a time of significant change in the world. The United States was emerging from the economic struggles of the previous decade and was experiencing a period of relative prosperity. The dollar was strong, and the country was on the brink of technological advancements that would change the world. Yet, amid this progress, the 1-cent coin remained largely unchanged. By 1988, it was a familiar piece in the pockets of millions of Americans, but there was something different about the 1988 penny. While the design had remained the same for decades, the way the coins were produced and handled had changed. The U.S. Mint was now using modern technology and more efficient processes, meaning that the minting of coins was faster and more cost-effective than ever before. However, as we will soon learn, the 1988 penny would come to symbolize something much rarer than just another coin produced in mass quantities. Now, let's talk about the design of the 1988 penny. The front, or obverse, of the coin features a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, created by the renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner. Lincoln has been featured on the penny since 1909, and his image has become one of the most iconic representations of American leadership and strength. The inscription around the edge reads, "In God We Trust," a long-standing motto of the United States, while the words, "Liberty," and 1988 are displayed on either side of Lincoln's portrait. On the reverse side, we see the traditional design of the Lincoln Memorial, which has been featured on the penny since 1959. The memorial is a tribute to the 16th president, and it is a fitting symbol of his enduring legacy. The words, "E pluribus unum," meaning, "out of many one," appear above the memorial, and the coin is marked with the denomination, 1 cent. At first glance, this design seems typical, even unremarkable, given that it had been in use for several decades. But the real story behind the 1988 penny lies in its rarity. Minting errors in coins are not unheard of, and many collectors find that these errors can make a coin far more valuable than a regular issue. The 1988 penny is no exception. Although most of the pennies struck that year were made to the usual specifications, a select few were produced with noticeable errors. These errors could range from simple die cracks to much more significant misprints, which created one-of-a-kind pieces. Some of these errors were so rare that they were immediately noticed by collectors, who saw the potential value in these misstruck coins. One of the most famous and valuable examples of a 1988 penny is a specimen that was mistakenly produced with an incorrect mint mark. In most cases, pennies struck at the Philadelphia Mint have no mint mark, while those struck at the Denver Mint are marked with a small d on the reverse side. However, a small number of 1988 pennies were accidentally struck with a D mint mark, even though they were not made at the Denver Mint. This error made these pennies incredibly valuable, as they were one of a kind. As soon as collectors became aware of these errors, they began searching for these special pennies, driving their demand and value up. In the world of coin collecting, the rarity of a misprinted coin can lead to astronomical prices. In fact, a 1988 penny with a mint mark error sold for an impressive $11 million at auction, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever sold. So, what made this penny worth such an incredible amount? To understand the value of the 1988 penny, it's important to consider the rarity and the circumstances surrounding the coin's creation. While the vast majority of 1988 pennies were produced in the usual way and are worth only 1 cent, the era coins were produced under extraordinary circumstances. Only a handful of these misprinted pennies were released into circulation, making them extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. The fact that such an error could happen at all is a testament to the complexity of coin production and the precision required to strike each coin perfectly. It's also worth noting that the 1988 penny's value is driven not only by its rarity, but also by the historical context in which it was created. The late 1980s were a time of major shifts in the global economy, and the U.S. Mint was working to keep up with the demand for coins in a rapidly changing world. The 1988 penny represents a snapshot of that era, and its rarity only adds to its allure. As we've seen, the 1988 1-cent coin is far more than just a penny. It's a piece of American history, a symbol of the country's enduring legacy, and a rare collectible that can command millions of dollars in the right circumstances. From its design to its minting errors, the 1988 penny is a perfect example of how a seemingly ordinary coin can become extraordinary when the right conditions align. In the world of coin collecting, the 1988 1-cent coin stands out as one of the most intriguing and valuable pieces to ever come from the United States Mint. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone fascinated by rare and unusual coins, the 1988 penny is a reminder that sometimes the most remarkable treasures are hidden in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered. So, next time you come across a penny in your pocket, take a moment to appreciate its history. Who knows, you might just be holding onto a coin worth millions.